Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today's video is a little bit different. Today I want to talk to you why I believe we need to have professional gambling lines placed on professional bass tournaments. I really do believe that if we had true odds, true Vegas odds that were placed on the fishing world or in professional bass tournaments or even any professional fishing tournament, that will help legitimize the sport and bring a bunch of new eyeballs that will help us go to the next level. So I want to kind of break this down. It's all somewhat related, but I do believe that this is a valuable thing for the sport to be going after. I think this is something we really need to try to get is to have odds makers put odds on us so that when you go to Vegas or you pull up your betting apps or whatever you have, you can look and find out what my odds will be, what Jacob Wheeler's odds will be, whoever's odds to win the next tournament. So let's just kind of break this down a little bit. The first thing is you have to recognize how big the gambling world is. It is an extremely popular industry. There are tons and tons of bettors that are placing bets, whether they're at home on their couch or whether they're in Vegas, wherever that may be. The gambling industry is absolutely huge. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are either looking at gaining an advantage and thinking that they've got, the ability to really win money from the house. And there's a lot of people out there that are just looking to gamble on anything. And if there's no horse racing going on, if they're not in Vegas and they want to sit down and watch something, but there's no, baseball game on, there's no any game for them to bet on, well, maybe they stumble on bass fishing. And because of that, there are a large number of people out there that have no knowledge of bass fishing that would probably tune in and place bets on our tournaments. So not only do you have a group of people out there that may know the fishing industry well that are placing bets, you've got a new group of people as well that are coming in just because they want to bet on something and they find fishing as an entertaining way to spend their money. So there's a large number of people. I know that doesn't sound like it's probably that many, but there are millions upon millions of people out there that are looking to place bets on anything that have odds. I mean, heck, the Super Bowl just happened. You can bet on the length of the national anthem. You can bet on the Gatorade color that they dumped on the winning coach. People are willing to bet on anything, and bass fishing fills a void. Regardless of whether you think it's a small sport or not, there will be people coming to it. So you've then just created an odd system, a new sport to allow bettors to bet on the game. But what's one thing that bettors love to do after they've made a bet? They want to watch that game or that contest to see how their bet does. And from that standpoint, you've brought new fans in, and those fans are going to be watching the live coverage. They're going to be following along. So now you've just increased the number of eyeballs that are watching the live stream. Well, that's one of the main things that the tournament organizations are trying to do is to bring more eyeballs to their live coverage so they can do what then? They then go to sponsors and say, hey, we have this many views. Will you pay us this much money to advertise or to sponsor the circuit? So if you've brought in a bunch of new eyes, that may be enough in its own right to generate more sponsor dollars for the organizations. But one other thing that it does that a lot of potential sponsors recognize, and one of the reasons why they're hesitant to come to the fishing industry is it's a very niche market. So if their product doesn't fit the outdoorsman or a fisherman really well, it may not be a good match for them to advertise on our platform. But if you're bringing in a bunch of non-angling fans, a bunch of non-angling eyeballs, that then actually opens up the potential for a sponsor to say, hey, yeah, we may not have a great fishing related product. These are the non-endemic companies. But hey, we can hit some of these other people that we know are a good target market for us. So from that standpoint, bringing in this new set of fans, and in my opinion, this is one of the best ways to bring a big group of new fans to the sport in a very short amount of time, you've brought new fans in, you've increased your viewership numbers on live coverage, you've potentially opened up a bunch of new uh, potential sponsor opportunities. And at the same time, one thing that you've done that a lot of people I don't think would recognize right off the bat is you've just legitimized the sport of bass fishing. Meaning, if you're going to have odds on it, there are professional people making those odds, and you've really just taken bass fishing from a potential hobby to a legitimate sport. So that does a lot as well, because then that opens up more potential sponsor opportunities. It just gives the stigma that, hey, this is something really big and really growing, and it's an opportunity out there. And one other thing I'm going to state with this too, we already have fantasy fishing, which is very, very popular. And fantasy fishing, in my opinion, is one of those things that gamblers love to do. They've got fantasy football leagues, fantasy baseball, all these various things. So we already have it all set up, the model set up. There's no reason why we can't make the progression to actual Vegas odds being placed on the sports world. So from that standpoint, I think there'd be a lot of people that actually did it. A lot of people out there would say, "Hey, how are you going to set odds when you have fields of 150?" It would be done basically the exact same way the PGA golf odds are set. You may have some random odds on individual anglers, and then you have groupings or fields, or hey, these are people that are going to make certain cuts, or you will the winner be somebody from that doesn't have odds, the rest of the field, basically. Um, it really would not be hard to set odds. It would be pretty simple for the odds makers to do. I don't think it would be hard to do it. In my tournaments coming up, you'd probably have Jacob Wheeler be one of the best odds out there. But even having said that, it still probably wouldn't be like 2-to-1 money. It would probably be, 10-to-1 or 15-to-1, so it would have to be worthwhile for somebody to take a high risk bet by picking an individual angler. But it happens every day in the golf world. So I personally think making legitimate gambling odds on bass fishing would really help grow the sport. Am I crazy, or do you agree with me? Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned, new video coming out tomorrow.